Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It's 9 o'clock on a Sunday, which means it's time for a review show special. This is where I take a particular product, a particular magic dealer or a creator, and I do a deep dive into a new trick that's come out. Now this week we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to do a comparison video, a comparison against two props that have come out very, very recently at the same time that are very similar and talk about the differences. And I'm going to be talking about the Parsons Box by Illusionist versus the Boombox by Penguin Magic. Now, it's a little bit of a difficult video for me to do. And the reason is, I was actually involved in the Boombox. Now, when I say I was involved in it, it's not my trick. It's not my gimmick. I didn't create it. However, Penguin asked me to get involved in creating routines for the prop. So I believe that they've had the rights to the Boombox for at least a couple of years. I know that I was given one probably about 6 months ago now, and they were already packaged up and they had tutorial links and so on and so forth. But they kind of had me create the routines on there. And then just before Magic Live, I went and filmed the project. So we went and got live performances in bars. I filmed the tutorial, and it's quite a long tutorial. I don't know exactly how long, but it's about 2 hours long. So I was involved in the Boombox only insofar as I created a lot of the routines for it. Now, you could say, how can you do a comparison video against somebody else's trick that's very, very similar when you're involved in the project? And in that respect, I totally get where you're coming from, but I've had so many people ask me about the differences. I'm going to talk about the differences on this video because I now have a Parsons Box. I've seen it. I've watched the whole tutorial. I now know the differences. Before, I was just going on what people say, but now I've got both of them in front of me. I can tell you exactly what the differences are. So I think this might be an interesting video for people to see. I am going to be completely impartial. I think if there's one thing that I've earned on this video, on this channel over the last couple of years, it's that you guys know that I'm going to be 100% honest. I will say that when I work with a company on a project that's not my own, I only take it on if I believe in the project, if I believe it's a good project. If I'm going to put my name to it and I'm going to create routines for that prop, I'm only going to do that if I think it's workable in the real world and it has benefits. So you obviously know that I'm going to like the Boombox because I'm there on the tutorial. But I'm going to give you as impartial a view as I can of the differences between the two, so you get to decide which one that you want to go for. So, without further ado, let's get straight into the differences between the Parsons Box and the Boombox. So, the Parsons Box and the Boombox were announced at pretty much the same time. I know that the Parsons Box was teased on their Illusionist socials, and then the Boombox hit the market at around about the same time that the Illusionist box did. They were kind of both there at around about the same time. Illusionist have gone onto their social media and said it's a case of independent creation. You know, obviously that appears to be the case here. It's not like Illusionist have ripped off Penguin or Penguin have ripped off Illusionist. They've both got a similar idea for a trick, and they've both come to market at around about the same time. That's basically what we have here. Now, first of all, let's talk about what both of the boxes are. So they're switch boxes, basically, and I think the best way to describe it is imagine a Himba wallet built into a card box. That's what we have here. It's a card box that allows you to switch a card imperceptibly right in front of the audience. And you don't just have to switch a card. You can switch absolutely anything. So you can switch a card, a business card, a bill, a billet, whatever you want to switch, you can switch. As long as it fits inside that card box, you can switch it. Absolutely not a problem. Now, one of the questions that's come up when I've been speaking to people about this is what's the difference between this and the M case or the Romero box or a million other boxes that have been mentioned to me ever since the Boombox being released. A lot of those other boxes that people bring up are magnetic, and they're magnetically locking boxes. So in other words, the box locks magnetically, which means that once the switch is done, you can't immediately switch back again. because the magnet has locked everything in place. Now, with both the Parsons Box and the Boombox, that's not the case. Because of how these boxes work, because of how these switch boxes work, there is no magnets in place. There's no magnets or anything like that. So that's the big difference. And obviously you can put a deck of cards in there and you can be ready to go and so on and so forth. Let's talk about what you get in the actual, I'm going to try and cover absolutely everything for you. So let's talk about the Parsons Box and talk about the packaging. So it's a flat package, very flat packaging for the Parsons Box. And when you get it, it comes flat. So the box that you get comes flat and you have to construct it, which isn't difficult. It's not like a arts and crafts style thing. You literally, it's already got double-sided tape on it. You literally just undouble-sided tape it and you just stick it together and you're good to go. It's a very easy thing to construct, right? It's not a problem at all. And then you have the insert that goes into the box. Now, both the Parsons Box and the Boombox have the same type of insert that goes into the box. I'll talk about the differences in construction in a minute. But basically what you have here is a double-sided box. So, you know when you look at a bicycle box and you've got the front side where it says bicycle and you've got the back side? Both the Parsons Box and the Boombox, basically, it's like looking at the back of the box on both sides. So in other words, when you take the cards out, if you looked at both sides of the box, it doesn't look like there's a front of the box because there's a back on both sides. And they both have a similar sort of insert. And both the Parsons Box and the Boombox credit Boxing Match by Masuda for this sort of concept, which is basically an insert that goes inside the box that can close either direction. So what that allows you to do, in essence, is put something in the box and have the box open, and then in the action of putting it down on the table, you can turn the box over. But because the box is double-sided and it's got a back on both sides, and because of the way that the insert is made, you can't tell that the box has been turned over. So in the action of putting a box down on the table, or a variety of other ways which we'll get into, you can switch from one side to the other. Now, the Parsons Box, because it comes flat packed, the insert is just separate. It's just loose, and so you just put the insert into the box, and you're good to go. And Illusionists talk about in their ad copy that the Parsons Box is built on gravity because gravity is never going to let you down. And so it's just an insert that goes loose into the box. It's not fixed in there in any way, shape or form. So yeah, you can put a deck of cards in one side, you can put a card loose in the other side, you can take the cards out, and you've got access to that switching facility. So when you put a card in there and turn it over, it's going to switch through to the other side. However, it is loose in there. So although gravity will not lay you down, if you were holding this box, for example, and turned it so that the mouth of the box is pointing down, the insert would fall out because it's not fixed in place. It's basically just, it's loose in there. That's the best way you can describe it. Now, the Boombox is the same construction. First of all, the Boombox comes already constructed. So you get a bigger box that it comes in. It's more of a penguin style box, and the box has already been constructed. You don't need to do any sticking of double-sided tape. It's not flat packed. It's already constructed. And the reason it's already constructed, the box looks the same in that there's a back on both sides. The insert is the same. However, the insert has been kept in place in the box with some elastic thread along the bottom of the box that you can barely see. But it's the elastic thread at the bottom of the box that holds that insert in place. Now that elastic thread is actually a really clever way of doing this, because unlike the Parsons Box, because it's held in place with elastic thread, and that's why it's already constructed, because each one has to be made by hand and has to be kind of sewn in place. Because of that elastic thread, the insert's not going to come out, which creates a really interesting locking mechanism, which we'll talk about in a minute. But basically, you can't, like sometimes when you're using elastic thread, it'll snap. The reason it snaps an awful lot, especially when using flap cards, is there's tension on the elastic thread. So when you're opening up the flap in order to set the gimmick, there's a lot of tension on the elastic thread, right? And that's what causes it to break. I've been using my my Boombox for about 6 months, and the thread has never broken. And I've had it like in my pocket. I've used it a lot. And one of the reasons is there's no tension on that elastic thread. The elastic thread runs along the bottom of the box. You cannot see it at all. In fact, when I first started using this thing, I didn't even know it was there. So the elastic thread runs along the bottom of the box. But what it allows you to do is keep that insert in place. So if you turn the box upside down, you know, I was mentioning that the Parsons box, the insert will fall out, right? With the Boombox, it won't. It's held in place with the elastic thread. But that creates an interesting locking mechanism, because if you put a card in the other side of the Boombox, so let's say one side of the Boombox you're putting a card, other side of the Boombox you're putting a deck. So in other words, you're set to go. You bring out the deck of cards, open up, take out the cards, give them to somebody to shuffle. You put the deck down on the table, and maybe you leave the flap open, or you can close it. It doesn't really matter. But let's just say you leave it open. You can literally turn this box upside down, and nothing will fall out. Both the insert won't fall out, or the card that's going to be switched in will not fall out either, because of that elastic thread in place. It creates a locking system. However, unlike some of the magnetic card cases that we talked about earlier, the advantage of this locking system is you still have access to the card at all times. So if you have a card in the other side of the, so let's say you have a card in the other side of the box, okay? I can hold this upside down and it's not going to fall out. But let's just say I wanted to steal the card out of the box. Let's just say there's a routine that I'm doing where I've done a switch or something and I'm wanting to steal that card out. Just in the action of just moving that flap slightly with my thumb as I'm holding the card box, that will disengage the locking system. So now that card could come out maybe into my lap, or maybe into my hand, into a gambler's cop. Just by tilting backwards, that card will fall out, or I can keep it locked in place however I want to see fit. Now, you can't do that with the Parsons box, because A, it's not going to lock in place because there's nothing holding that flap in. It's just there. So, you know, you turn it over and it's going to fall out. But also, if you're going to tilt it back in order to steal the card out, the flap is going to come with it as well, because there's nothing holding that flap in place. The reason it works with a Boombox is because that elastic thread is holding that flap in place. So when I tilt backwards, the only thing that's going to come out when it's unlocked is the card that's hidden in the other side of the box, whilst the flap will stay in place because of the elastic thread. Whilst with the Parsons box, when I tilt backwards, everything's going to come out, including the flap, if that kind of makes sense. So it allows you to do a lot of stuff with the Boombox, even though it's one small thing, even though when you look at the box, it almost looks identical in terms of the outside of the box, even though the flap, you know, the insert looks identical. The fact that it's been sewn in place with elastic thread makes it so that there's a lot of features that you can do with the Boombox that you can't do with the Parsons box, including locking it in place and stealing it out and so on and so forth. Now, both boxes will allow you to have a card hidden in the other side and put a card in and turn the box over and put it on the table and switch it. Absolutely, for sure. You could then switch it back if you wanted to. That's not a problem. You can switch back and forth as many times as you want to. You can put the cards back in place, which means that a lot of the routines that are discussed on the various projects will instantly reset. Yeah, for sure, both of those are fine. The other thing is, with the Boombox, because the elastic thread's there in place, you can put the deck down on the table. Now, you could have a spectator with the right audience management, and you'll see me do this in live performances on the project. With the right audience management, even with an open box, you can have a spectator give you the box. And that's absolutely not a problem. And you're not going to have to worry about that insert falling out because it's held in place. I would worry about doing that with the Parsons box, because all they'd need to do is tilt it slightly, and it kind of give the game away as to what's going on. So there's that as well. Like I say, if you think I'm biased, that's absolutely fine. I do prefer the fact that the insert is held in place with the elastic thread, because it means that I have access to this locking facility, and it also means that I don't have to worry about anything falling out because I know it's locked in place until I need it. Now, The big difference, in my opinion, and this is where I have to be very careful, purely because this is the aspect of the project that I was involved in the most, but I think it's something that I do have to talk about. The big difference for me between the two projects, outside of the locking facility, the big difference for me is the project itself, the tutorial itself. So the tutorial for the Parsons Box, I've sat down and watched absolutely everything, and it's very basic. There's 4 routines taught from memory. The first routine is just basically, it's not really a routine. It's not. They actually say on the explanation, you know, hey, let's just talk about a simple force with this box. It's basically just pick a card, we're going to put it in the box. You could have picked any card. This is the card you've picked. And it's basically using the box for its very simplest idea, which is having someone pick a card, put it in the box, and switching it for a card that's already loaded into the box. So that's one of the routines. One of the 4 routines is basically just using it as a force. The second routine is very, very similar to that. There's not really that much difference. The third routine is really nice. It's a kind of a serial number divination, a little bit like what I did with the Quiver wallet. If you guys saw my Quiver, my House and Wines of the Quiver, or you're on NETRIX and you saw my Quiver trick with the Quiver serial Quiver, then it's a similar sort of thing. Basically, you borrow a $1 bill, you put it into the card box, you have somebody very freely pick X amount of cards, and when you turn them over, it matches the serial number on the bill that they've lent you. Very, very nice. Absolutely great. Clever use of the box, for sure. And then the final routine is a kind of a card that's picked, disappears, and goes into a card box. And they teach you a gimmick. They teach you to make a gimmick with a deck of cards that's very, very old. I know the first time I saw this gimmick being used, it was with Richard Sanders in the Richard Sanders Show, and it was called Behind Your Back, but it's been around a lot longer since then. Yeah, and basically the whole idea is that you would have somebody say stop, they would look at a card, the box has been shown empty and put to one side, then you spread through the deck, the card has vanished, and it's appeared inside the box that was empty. Those are the 4 routines. Beyond that, they just say use your own imagination, it's capable of a whole bunch more. What I found was really interesting with the Parsons Box, it's a very short tutorial, really. There's not really live performances. There kind of is a live performance of a couple of the routines, but it's just the performer sitting down with one person. It's kind of like more of a studio performance. There's not really any live performances in the live gigging environment, but it's nice that they made an effort to do it to one person. What I found very interesting is on the Parsons trailer, on the trailer for the Parsons Box, they include a lot of visual stuff, which I disagreed with, because having worked with the Boombox, I kind of knew that the Parsons Box would be very similar in many ways. And having worked with the Boombox, one thing that I wanted to avoid was visual switches. So if you look at the Parsons trailer, if you look at the trailer for the Parsons Box, there's a lot of moments where you look at the cameras looking into the box and boom, you see the cards switch inside the box and you see a visual change. They don't really talk about that on the project, which is good, because in my opinion, and the reason I stayed away from that, is that draws attention to the card box, and you don't want to draw attention to the card box. In my opinion, the best way this box is used is misdirection. So in other words, you put a card into the box, you put the box to one side, time misdirection, you take the card out and it's changed. For me, that's the best way to use the box. When I saw the trailer for the Parsons Box and I saw these visual switches, I was like, that's not really, you're drawing heat on the card box there, and that's not a good thing. But the tutorial didn't actually go through anything really when it came to visual switches, which is a good thing in my opinion in terms of people learning how to do routines with this prop. There's a question mark over the validity of the trailer in terms of they showed visual switches and didn't really discuss them, but by the by, that's not really too much of a problem. That's your tutorial. Now, with the Boombox, I spent 6 months working routines in for this in the real world. When I went to Penguin, I worked all day at the P3 Theatre filming this project, and then we were out all evening getting live performances. We got a ton of live performances with this box. A ton of live performances, which I was so happy about. I spent a long time putting, I put like 30 routines together for this thing. And I think we whittled it down to 10 with a view to maybe doing a few extra bonus routines to drop into people's accounts next time I'm at Penguin. And then obviously, as you can see on the trailer, you know, there's stuff by Andrew and Eric and Nick and all those different people. But the routines I contributed, in all honesty, I think are some of the strongest things that I've put together. Because what I really wanted to try and do is, and the reason I was so passionate about this project, is I didn't want it to be what, in my opinion, the Parsons Box is. Which is, hey, this is the box. Here's a couple of ideas with it. Go for your life. And what I loved about Penguin is they could have done that. They could have done that. They've got Eric Tate working for them. They've got Nick Lacoppa. They've got Nick Bopa. They could have done that very, very easily. They didn't need me. But they said to me, hey, will you create some routines for this? We'd love your, we'd love your input. And they wanted to deliver extra value to their end customers. And that's what I believe is the big differences between the Boombox and the Parsons Box, is the routines, the tricks that you do with them. So there's an any card at any number on there, which I'm going to show you a live performance of in a second. I've actually got permission from Penguin to do to show you the live performance of it. And it's basically, I've had so many people say you could sell this as a standalone trick. Imagine this as an effect. You show a deck of cards. And you put them down in front of somebody and you say, look, I've put one card in one position there. You can even have the card shuffled and then openly move one card into that position. You put those down there in front of somebody. You then bring out another deck of cards and you've got all of the cards are different. The deck can be examined until the cows come home, and each card has a number drawn on it from 1 to 52. And you give the spectator to shuffle. They can shuffle the cards until there's no tomorrow. Shuffle them as much as they want to. They then take any 2 cards that they want and put them in the box, and the box gets put to one side. And then they can switch if they want to right up until the last second. They pick which card represents the value, represents the card. They pick which card represents the position in the deck. And then when the other person deals down to that position, the card's there. It's very, very clean. It's instant reset. It's examinable because the focus isn't on the box. And that's the thing that's really important about any of these routines that I constructed. The focus is not on the box. The focus is on something else.
Really weird. Now, what I did earlier on when I was turned around is I put a card in a particular position in that deck.
Okay.
This is going to be my prediction. Now, I'm not going to touch that. I'm going to put it over there so I can't reach it. You make sure I don't touch that, okay? It's out of my reach. Look. So I can't get it. Now, there's a trick in Magic, and the trick is called ACAN. It stands for any card at any number.
Okay.
And the idea is somebody names a card, somebody names a card number, and the card appears at that number. ACAN. Now, there's a problem with this trick. If I asked you to name a card, psychologically, you're probably going to go for an Ace of Spades or a Queen of Hearts. That's because what most people do. If I ask you to think of a number, you're probably going to go for 37. That's the one that most people go for psychologically. That's what you were thinking of, wasn't it? No? That's what most people go for. So what I did is I took a different deck of cards. I took a blue deck. And what I did, they're okay on the back, but on the front, I shuffled the hell out of these cards. And then I wrote a different number on each card. Can you see that?
Yes.
Different number on each card, just at random. So there's 52 numbers and there's 52 cards. Now, Parker, shuffle these.
On that.
I know, it's going to be funny for all of us. And then when you've done that, I want you to pass the cards across to Reed and get him to shuffle them. And the reason is...
All right, Reed, it's all you, bud. It's going to start with you.
Oh, look, you're getting fancy. I like that. Nice.
Right? That's how you do it, right?
Now, that's good, that's good, that's good, yeah.
All right, just move around a little.
You should do the magic and I'll just sit there and get him drunk. How's that sound?
Yeah, right.
Thanks, Reed. I love that. I have no idea what the hell you're doing, man, but that... I'm just going to let you do it.
I'm scared.
I've got a feeling you don't trust me.
Pat, do it. What the? Yeah?
Yeah, you shuffle the shit out of those, why don't you? What the hell are you guys doing to me? Nice.
Sorry,
Put
Pat.
them on there. Cool, cool. Is that fair? No
I
way.
think that's more than
No
fair.
way anyone could know the order. Right. So, Parker and Reed, Parker and Reed, Parker and Reed. You're both going to slide one card out the spread towards me. Anyone that you want to. Your choice. From the pack that he messed up, you're going to slide one card. He's going to slide one card. Any cards that you want to. So he's going to go for that one. And you're going to go for that one. Now this trick is all about choices. Do you want to stick with those or do you want to change them for another two?
You put this one in there instead?
Okay, which one do you want to take out?
This one. I'll keep mine.
You're keeping yours, yeah? Is that fair?
Yeah.
You guys are making all the choices. I'm going to put these in the box. What's your name, my friend?
Patrick.
Patrick. You make sure I don't touch those cards, all right, Patrick?
Sure thing.
Take the cards, put them in the box. So think about this for a minute. You guys shuffle the cards. Well, no, he shuffled the cards. You the cards up. Then you shuffle the cards again, right? Then between you, you took two cards out. You took one of the cards and changed it for another card. Like, there's no way we could know what those two cards are. But there's one thing I do know. One of those cards, both of those cards have got numbers on them. So you're going to make one more choice between you. And this is the choice. One of these cards is going to represent a number. One of them is going to represent a card. Between you decide which one's going to be the number, which one's going to be the card.
Why is it my decision? Alright. Oh.
That's okay. Which one's the number, which one's the card?
Number card.
That's the number, that's the card.
I agree, Parker.
Do you agree?
I agree.
So this is the card. This is the card, yeah?
Yes.
So the card is the Ace of Hearts,
Okay.
and the number is 25.
Okay.
Ace of Hearts, 25.
Okay.
If you'd have done this, you shuffled the cards.
Yeah.
If you'd have took any other cards out, it would have been a completely different outcome.
Right.
You shuffled, you took two cards, Ace of Hearts, 25.
Okay.
Correct?
Yes.
That was right, wasn't it? Yeah, Ace of Hearts, 25. And I put that deck there at the beginning, and I said it was out of reach. I haven't touched it. You knocked it over, but we haven't touched it.
Yeah.
You're going to pick up the cards, Parker. Hold them as if you're about to deal. And you're going to deal 24 cards onto the table, turning them over one at a time. We're all going to count along with him for two reasons. One, it's going to make it sound more exciting, because I've got to count through 24 cards here. It's going to take a while. And two, I don't know, Parker. He might struggle with the high numbers. So, are you ready?
That's so true.
I thought so. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Stop. You decided that between you decided on 25 and Ace of Hearts. If that's the Ace of Hearts, I think that's good enough for you guys to go crazy. What do you reckon? But it can't be. I can tell by the look in your face, there's no way that can be the 20th. There's no way, right?
25th is the Ace of Hearts.
If that is, I'm going to lose my mind because this has never worked before. Turn it over.
What the?
I know, right?
Are you kidding?
That's never worked before. I can't believe it worked.
You gotta be kidding.
I know. That's so weird.
There's a really nice signed card. I'm so proud of the construction of this. There's a signed card to box with no palming. And I love the hook to it. I talk about the difference between mentalists and magicians. And I say magicians are all about getting a card picked and signed. So I have someone pick and sign a card. Mentalists are all about making a prediction. And I show a card, let's say it's the Queen of Spades, and I put it into the card box. And I say, right, okay, so let's start with the mentalist. I've shown you the prediction, I've put it in the card box. Do me a favor, you're just going to say stop anytime you want to. And it's really fair. It's not like a riffle force or anything. The card that they stop on, you put it down on the table, you take the card out that you put in the box, you turn them over, and it's the perfect match, like the two black kings or the two black queens or whatever. And then you say, a magician wouldn't do that. A magician would try and do something incredible. I'm going to do something incredible right now. Watch. And then with your hands empty, you pick up the card box, you open it up. It was empty a second ago. They saw it was empty. And now you pull out the signed card. Really nice moment.
Are you ready? That was the warm-up, but this is the main event. Are you ready for this? This is crazy.
I'm ready.
I can tell you guys are ready for this. This is.
Nervous.
You should be. I've seen this trick before. Yeah. I'm going to show. Would you guys like to see the difference between magic and mind reading? Would that be okay?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to put the box over here for a minute. So, in fact, I'll tell you what. Actually, that's out the way. Hold your hand out for me. You're going to be like a table, but with 2 legs instead of 4. I'm just going to put that there for a minute. Okay. So, will you help me?
Okay.
Can you hold this box for a minute? Good. So I've got a pack of cards here, yeah?
Okay.
All there, all different. I'm going to show you the difference between magic and mind reading. By the way, you're going to be the mind reader.
Okay. Oh.
And she's going to read your mind. But first of all, the magic bit, okay? First of all, the magic bit. So you, my friend, you're going to pick a card.
Okay.
Now, you're going to pick a number card, not a picture card, because you're going to write your name on it. So as I spread through, take any number card out that you want. Nice. Show everyone, don't show me. Are we good? Can I borrow that? Thank you. Take this pen. What are you going to do? I know, right? You're going to write your name on the face.
Okay.
Not on the back, on the face.
Okay.
Not on your face, on the face of the card.
The card. Okay.
Yeah, right? I'll look away, you write your name, big letters. And then underneath, put your bank account number and sort code and security number. That's that as well. You're doing such a good job there. I love how you keep. I love how you keep checking the box is empty.
Oh,
Thank you.
okay.
She's like, yeah, it's still empty. It's still empty. It's still empty. It's still empty. Right, I'll take the pen back.
Oh, pen. Yeah.
Because that's how I got it, you see. So, right, here we go. You ready?
Yeah.
You're going to put the card back? There you go. Nice. We're going to leave it down in the middle. Is that fair?
Okay.
I'm going to give the cards a couple of cuts and a shuffle. Is that fair, my friend, yeah? Now, mind reading time. Are you ready?
Yeah.
You are going to be the mind reader. You're going to read her mind. First of all, you've got to make a prediction, all right? So because you've only got one hand, I'm going to riffle down the deck. You're going to say stop. Wherever you say stop, that's your prediction, all right? So just say stop.
Okay. Stop.
There. This is her prediction. So I'm going to let everyone see this. This is the card that she thinks you're going to pick in a minute. Okay? That's the card.
Okay.
Can you all see it? Yeah? Can you remember it?
Yeah.
Good. Now what I'm going to do, can you just hold the deck for a minute? Just like that. That's great. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put that card right there inside the box. You have to watch very carefully. Can you do that?
Yeah.
Don't blink. Right, don't move. We've made the prediction, okay?
Yeah.
Good. So here we go. Watch this. Now, your mind is the one that's going to get read. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
So you're going to pick a card. You're going to pick a card. So I'm going to turn cards over like this one at a time.
Okay.
And you're going to say stop. Wherever you say stop, that face down card is going to be your card. So anytime you want to, just say stop. That was really quickly. That was really quick. I know. You sure you're happy there? I don't want you saying later on, I made you stop that quick. You want to carry on? Or are you happy there?
We can carry on one more.
One more. Have you ever helped a magician? Have you ever helped a magician? Well, you're not helping one now, to be perfectly honest. But it's my fault. I shouldn't have picked you. So. I'm joking.
I know.
One more, yeah?
One more, and then stop.
And that one there, yeah?
There.
Okay, you're decisive on this. You know, you got. Okay.
I do.
So that card there, don't turn it over. Hold it like that, but don't look at it just yet. Okay. So you're a card-holding man, remember? And you do such a good job of it. So let's just take out the prediction for the first time. You all saw it, but I didn't see it. So let me just turn it over. The King of Hearts.
Yeah.
Now, in every deck of cards, there's a perfect mates. Cards that are the same in every way. So the Ace of Spades would be the Ace of Clubs because they're both an ace and they're both black.
Yeah.
The Six of Diamonds would be the Six of Hearts. So if you made a prediction of the King of Hearts, that means that you would have to pick the King of Diamonds. And if you pick the King of Diamonds, that would be amazing. And that would be impossible. And he would freak out.
Yeah.
Because she's the one that made all the decisions. You even went one more card. If you hadn't, it would have been completely different.
Yeah, you're right.
You turn that over. 3, 2, 1. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that.
That's crazy.
But you picked a card.
Yeah.
That's mind reading, by the way. You did an amazing job. Next time you're going to do the magic and I'm going to go and get drunk. How's that sound? But you picked a card.
Right.
You wrote your name on it.
Right.
I don't know what it is.
Right.
A magician wouldn't read a mind. A magician would do something incredible.
Like what?
I'm going to make that card disappear from that deck.
Oh.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
It's done. But it's not about making it disappear, it's about where it's gone.
Where is it?
You've been holding this box
Stop.
from the very beginning.
I'm scared.
You've been holding this box from the very beginning. I never even took it off her. She's been having it from the very beginning. There's now a card in there.
Oh my goodness.
It can't be. It literally could not be. If this is the card, they're going to go crazy. What was the card? Who gives a shit? You signed it. Look. The 9 of diamonds. 5 of diamonds. You were holding this box.
I was holding this box.
Take the card.
Let's
Turn
see
it
the
over.
card, turn it over.
Get the fuck out of here.
What? I can't. That's crazy. You did a good job.
There's a really cool routine called Doodle Duplication, which is my version of a drawing duplication using a business card. So, and this is so cool. You show 2 business cards, they're blank, and you give a business card to somebody, and you give them a pen, and you get them to doodle. You say, look, what I want you to do is hold it upside down so you can't see it, take the pen, and just draw a line and keep going back and forth for 5 seconds, and then stop. Don't look at it, put it in the card box. And they really are. It's not a dried out Sharpie or anything. They really are drawing a line. You then take the other one and you just say concentrate and you draw something on your card. And then what happens is when you take their business card out and you show your business card, you've duplicated their doodle. It's really cool. If you've ever seen Richard Sanders' Ace, where he has a deck of cards and he has the spectator pick 2 cards and he picks 2 cards and they end up getting the 4 aces and then every other card is blank. I've got a version of that with examinable cards. So you basically give the spectator to shuffle. They take any 4 cards out that they want to. They hold on to them. And the deck is given to somebody else. And when they look at the 4 cards, they're the 4 aces and every other card is blank and all the cards are examinable. There's a really nice open prediction where you openly predict the card that they're going to stop on, but every other card is blank, which is really, really cool. There's just some really nice moments, some really strong routines. And I've tried to go for so many different variations, and there's live performances of a lot of the routines, not all of the routines, but there's live performances of lots of the routines. I don't know exactly because I haven't seen the finished tutorial, but I think there's something like 2 hours of performance. Performance and tutorial and explanation. It's one of my projects, right? And for me, I think this is the big difference between the Parsons Box and the Boombox. Obviously, they're both going to be well made. Yeah, the Boombox is already constructed and has elastic thread and everything, and I think that's much better. But there's no problem with the Parsons Box at all. It's very well constructed. So both boxes are very well constructed. There's some extra features with the Boombox that you don't get with the Parsons Box. But I think the big difference is the thought that's gone into the Boombox. It's almost like the Parsons Box. They had an idea for this box. They made them and they just put it out there as quickly as possible without really thinking through idea. And it's very unusual for that because Illusionists normally are really thorough when it comes to their projects, and they really spend a lot of time and effort putting together a project that's got a ton of value on it. They didn't really seem to do that this time, whilst Penguin have gone above and beyond. And as I say, I'm a little bit biased in this situation because I contributed a lot of the routines, but I think that the routines are the selling point when it comes to the Boombox. Those, for me, are the big differences. They're both going to last as long as a deck of cards will. I've been using mine for 6 months and it's still absolutely fine. I have made the point to people that have asked me about the Boombox, which is I can't understand why you would use a regular deck of cards, because you need to put your cards into something, right? If you put them into a Boombox, you carrying them around with you, but anytime that you want to, you've got access to this incredible switching device, and you've got access to whatever routine you want to do. Same with the Parsons Box. You can put the cards in the box and you're good to go, and you've got access to this incredible switching box. So whether you go for a Parsons Box or a Boombox, I personally think throw away your regular card boxes. Use a Boombox. They're so much better. Use a Boombox or a Parsons Box. They're so much better, and it allows you access to so many different routines. That's my opinion. You know, I think that they're a really strong tool that allows you to do an awful lot. They really are. I just think that the Boombox is better because of the routines and because of the construction and because of the added features that you have with the fact that the flap, the insert, is locked in place as opposed to being loose. But I've spoken to people that have got the Parsons Box and are happy with the Parsons Box, and that's great. I would be interested to see what they would think if they had the Parsons Box and the Boombox side by side and then watched the tutorials for both and they compared them. I'd be interested to see that from people that have got a Boombox and are given a Parsons Box and people that have got a Parsons Box and they're given a Boombox. I'd be interested to see what their opinion is. My opinion, I've got both of them. I've been working with the Boombox for a long time. I think that they're both great. I really do. I think that they're both really, really good. I've got to edge it to the Boombox. Most of my routines with the Boombox will work with the Parsons Box. There's a couple that you might struggle with, but but the fact is, to get my routines, you've got to buy a Boombox, and I think that that's the real value here. At least that's just my opinion. It doesn't mean that I'm right, but you know, you guys asked me to compare the Boombox and the Parsons Box, and that is what I've done. I would give the Boombox 100%. I absolutely love it. It's why I got involved in the project. I think that the routines on there are great. Obviously, I perform a lot of them in the real world anyway. I think that the routines on there are great. I think that the construction is really good. I think it's going to last a lifetime. Having said that, I think that the Parsons Box is definitely worth 90%. I think it's an incredible prop. I think it's very well made. Yes, it doesn't have the locking system in place. It doesn't have the body of routines with it that you get with the Boombox. But if you're not bothered about routines and you're not bothered about it locking in place, there's no problem with getting a Parsons Box. You get one, you won't be disappointed. If you trying to decide which one to get, I would personally go with the Boombox, but ultimately, it's up to you. So there you go, guys. That's another review show special in the bag. Thank you for joining me right here on a Sunday evening. I really appreciate it. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. Do you have a Boombox? Do you have a Parsons Box? Which one's your favorite? Which one do you like the best? I would love to know. Don't forget, if you want to see more videos like this, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. Please subscribe. It massively helps. And if you haven't already done so, go check out the NETRIX. It's www.thenetrix.com. You can get access to the whole platform and try it out for a month and see what the fuss is about. I'm going to be back again soon. Have an amazing day. My name's Craig from Magic TV.